welcome to this epic episode of the Maza's Musings podcast. That's right, this week we are seeing how the other half lives, and we are going to be talking with Jessie and Kristen from We Do Travel Right, all about Epic Universe at Universal Studios. It was a fun conversation that we had that I recorded earlier this week, and really they had a great opportunity to see a lot of the things that are going into this new park that some have said will rival anything that Disney has done. So it sounds great. They had a lot of information. They had a lot of impressions and really an honest feedback as to what they experienced while part of this annual pass holders experience that they were able to have. So looking forward to sharing that with you. But of course, first we have to share Meghan's joke of the week. Now we have a new name for this segment that Meghan came up with tonight while we were recording that. So this is going to be Meghan's Cuckoo Bananas joke of the week. Hi, Meghan.
Hi.
Do you have a joke for us?
Yes.
Okay, let's hear it.
What does a gingerbread man put on his bed?
I don't know.
A cookie sheet.
So is that what we should call this now? We should call it Meghan's Cuckoo Bananas joke?
Yeah.
All right, that's what we'll call it from now on. Well, as always, Meghan, being Cuckoo Bananas herself, she delivers with the Cuckoo Bananas joke. Now, before we get into Epic Universe, of course, we are going to have our Maza's Mickey Minute.
Donald, wake up! It's showtime! Don't forget the orchestra!
Ah, there you are. And just in time.
Mom says there's even more magical stuff now.
For those of you standing, please hold on to the handrails throughout our journey and stay clear of the doors.
Hang on to them hats and glasses, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
And here we go!
So obviously the big news this week was the Abu Dhabi park, but I really felt like for this podcast, keeping it relevant to the things that people are most likely to be visiting and experiencing, with the people who are listening to this podcast likely are not making a trip to Abu Dhabi anytime soon. So one of the other things that I wanted to bring up was the new Disney World Pirates of the Caribbean themed tavern, which is going to be called the Beak and Barrel. Now, the story of this is that it was established by a legendary pirate rum runner, Captain Meriden Mary Goldwyn, and her talkative first mate, Rummy. And this pirate pub will welcome, according to the Disney Parks blog, swashbucklers, scoundrels, bandits, buccaneers of all ages from every corner of the seven seas. Now, one thing that they note in the Disney Parks blog that kind of explains all of this is that some may recognize Rummy as the original Barker bird that sat at the entrance of Pirates of the Caribbean. So that's a pretty cool callback to something that's been gone for quite some time. So the largest and most central space in here is a place called The Mess. And that has a bar that's made out of salvaged portions of shipwreck. And then there's the captain's quarters, which is supposed to be was once the living space of a Spanish commandant. So I encourage you to go to the Disney Parks blog, take a look at some of the photos. There's a little bit more information than what I went over here, but it's a very long conversation that I had with Jessie and Kristen, so I want to get to that. But more information on this is going to be coming, including an opening date. and a peek at the food specials and drink options, and all that's expected soon. So that is something that I'm certainly looking forward to. I think that we're going to get kind of an Oga's vibe to this, but maybe a little bit more kid friendly, which would be cool. And that wraps up this week's Maza's Mickey Minute.
Well, I can't do any more damage around this popsicle stand.
So long, partner.
See you real soon.
All right, well, I am here with Jessie and Kristen from We Do Travel Right. Thank you guys for joining me, and we are going to be talking about Universal Studios and specifically Epic Universe, which you guys, well, you can explain a little bit about how you ended up getting to take a look at it, but thank you for joining me. And usually when I kick these things off, I give you guys a chance to kind of introduce yourselves so that people can understand who you are, where you're coming from, and why you are the expert in what we're going to be talking about.
Trial and error, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. Jessie, you go first.
Sure. Hi, guys. My name's Jessie. I'm a born and raised Floridian, so I've been going to theme parks my entire life. Just growing up, it's like we were always a Disney family, and then I moved to Orlando, and I was like, ooh, Universal, what's this? And that was like a whole nother world that opened for me. But honestly, just like I said, theme parks for us have been trial and error. Especially with Epic Universe, it's been so fun to learn this new park, and I cannot wait to dive into this.
Yeah. I'm Kristen. I actually grew up right outside of New York City in New Jersey, and I'm married. I have 2 kids, and it was like pandemic-y sort of still, and my husband and I kind of looked at each other and we were like, what if we didn't live here anymore? And so magically we were both on the same page. We moved down to Orlando area, and yeah, I've always been a Disney kid. I used to come here all the time growing up, and Disneyland, I used to actually live in California for a little bit, so I would always go to Disneyland. My dad was super into like the Universal monsters and all of that, so I did go to Universal a lot as a kid. And then moving down here, I mean, it's your backyard, right? Like these are your playgrounds, and this is what, my kids like to do. So we started going, and I started working at some of these Disney blogs. That's how Jessie and I actually met. And then, fast forward, we've kind of moved jobs together along the way. We realized we're a good duo, we're stronger together.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've kind of moved, and now we're here at We Do Travel Right, and we handle all of their social media, marketing, all of that stuff. And it's been great. I mean, we've been here for 2 years now.
2 years, I know.
Gotten to do some cool things. We have more cool things that we're doing at the end of the month too. So maybe we'll chat about that a little bit. And
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, thank you for joining me. Welcome. And I'm just going to preface our entire conversation by saying that the last time that I was at Universal Studios, I might have been 8.
Wow. That's a long time ago.
I think the Terminator 3D show, Jaws, and the E.T.
Jaws.
ride were like the big rides, like the big attractions at the time. So forgive me for all of my lack of knowledge, for my just...
It's dated. It's dated knowledge.
If I just look pale faced, like I don't have no idea what you're talking about, it's probably because I don't. So that's why you're here. You guys are the experts, and I appreciate you taking the time to kind of fill us in on what has been a park that I think people have been talking about for quite some time, and now we are fast approaching the day when it's going to be just flooded with people.
Already is getting there, honestly.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's kind of flooded already, unfortunately.
Oh, okay, so you guys had the opportunity to kind of take an advanced look at this. How did you guys end up, how did your opportunity arise?
So we're annual pass holders for Universal. When you live in Orlando, you are an annual pass holder for all the things because that's just, again, like Kristen said, it's your playground. That's what we do. We go to theme parks, whether it's for work or for fun. Like we're like, hey, you want to go to Disney and grab a drink, or you want to go to Universal and get dinner? That's our go-to spot. So being an annual pass holder, we actually had access to earlier tickets, which was really nice because we got to go on the first day of pass holder openings. We were all there right on our phones, waiting, refreshing, trying to get these tickets as quickly as possible. And we managed to get at least 2 days. And then the first 2 days we got all together, and it was so nice to just explore this new park all together because it's overwhelming. There's a lot of park.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it's funny because for a long time, we have a Six Flags in our backyard here in Western Massachusetts, and so many people have like the season pass and everything. And I always thought that was so silly. But then I think about if I was in Florida, I would definitely have an annual pass to Disney World. Like it would be a no brainer. So I guess it's not one that
person
far.
that didn't like. You talk to your neighbors, and everybody has an annual pass to somewhere, and that's like your date spots. So hey, you want to grab dinner? All right, let's go to Epcot Steakhouse. Hey, you want to go grab a drink? All right, let's go over to City Walk. And, everything, especially for me, is within a 30-minute radius. Kristen, you're a little bit further, but not by much.
Like 35, 40.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just nice to like have it in your backyard.
Yeah.
All right. And so before sorry, go ahead.
I have kids. So like we're, coming up on summer vacation. So we're like, okay, like let's make sure all the passes are renewed and we're ready to go because what do you do with your kids during these
swim
10 weeks that you have off? Yeah, exactly. But even so, like I remember last year I had them wear their bathing suits, and that's when DreamWorks Land over at Universal had just opened. And they had that like whole Kung Fu Panda water playground thing. So we just went in our bathing suits.
Cool.
It was like going to your local splash pad or your local playground, but it's Universal, and they went and they splashed around and had a great time. And then, got some Shrek pretzels and Trolls ice cream and, went home met Dad for dinner. And that was that. It's like, it's nice to have that be in your backyard, and that's what you do. It's not just like a playground, like that's where you're going. That's where you're making those memories, spending time with your kids. Cause it's so fun. It's not reserved for like this once in a lifetime thing. It's just a Thursday,
Yeah. Yeah. Just a Thursday.
Yeah, it's a Thursday.
Right. So before we get into some of the, any specifics on any attractions, rides, or different aspects of the park, is there anything that you think people should know when they're planning to go there or when they're approaching this park, especially Epic Universe, but especially even on a broader scale for someone like me who's in his adult life never been to Universal Studios? What are some things that people should understand when they're planning this?
It's a theme park and there's a lot of people. You got to pack your patience because there's a lot of people around you. Rides go down. Some things don't work. And that's not just with the current previews. That's with anything. Any new theme park, any old theme park, any theme park that's been, around for 10 years, they're going to have issues just like your car. It's regular maintenance, right? So you need to pack your patience because a lot of people have all these plans and they make a ton of plans. And then they're disappointed when they don't get to do all those plans.
Yeah, we see that a lot. And I
see that a lot.
I think people do that. Like they try to cram so much into one day. So it's like, I have one day here, I have one day here, I have one day here, and I'm going to cram it all and I'm going to do it. Is that a vacation, or now have you just moved the stress of your regular life to this kind of new version of having to meet a deadline and be in a place at a certain time? Like, add an extra day or two, like add it so you can take your time and see everything. I mean, you probably can see what you want to see at Universal in one day, like the Universal Park.
Universal Studios Park, yeah.
It depends on like how big you are into coasters and some of that. But Epic, you're talking a minimum of 2 days if you want to just see everything with your own.
Honestly, I've been 3 already and I still haven't seen everything. And that was for the previews. It's not even a grand opening yet. Just for the previews, 3 days, like I didn't see everything.
Yeah, same. I've been 3 and there's still stuff. I mean, and again, it's previews. So like things, they're in rehearsal. So things
Of
are
course.
going down and things are, we got online for something and then it was like, no, never mind. And then it was closed the rest of the day. So yeah, I mean.
Well, and weather too. I mean, there's weather delays. If it rains, rides go down. Some rides are outside. Then the rides that are inside get really, really packed. And then what if that ride goes down? Then what?
Yeah.
So, definitely pack your patience and just don't try to rush everything. It's a big park. All theme parks are big parks and you need time, honestly.
Well, and there's never ever weather in Florida, right?
No.
Oh,
never.
It's perfect here all the time.
Especially during summer vacation.
We walked outside yesterday onto our patio and it was probably like 7:30 and it was more humid, Jessie, last night than it has been.
It was bad.
In like the past 6 months, and we were like, oh, that's right, it's May, this is gonna start now. Like, oh yeah. Ugh.
Right.
Okay, so for those who are listening who haven't really been following what's going on with Universal, because this is a podcast, we cover a lot of different subjects, but a lot of it is focused. There is a large Disney focus
of course.
Here. So kind of going over, and I'll readily admit I Googled this. So, correct me if the Google machine is wrong, please set me right. But basically it seems so for this park, we've got How to Train Your Dragon, a Nintendo area, another Harry Potter area. Now that's something that's spread throughout all of the parks. Is there's a Harry Potter element to each of them? Is
correct?
That correct? Yes. Okay. Dark Universe and Celestial Park. So did I get that all right?
You did.
Okay. So looking at from what you guys were able to, and you said you haven't experienced everything, but what you experienced, were there any favorites? Was there anything that really grabbed your attention and you were just like, I need to tell everybody about this?
We should show him the photo from Ministry of Magic.
I know, I will send that to you. Absolutely. That was the best. I think the other thing to point out, yes, it has all these lands, like before we even answer your question, but they're set up in a way that they're so immersive. So you don't see the land next door when you walk through that portal into that one land. So when you're in Isle of Berk, which is the How to Train Your Dragon area, you're not seeing really anything else. Like, you are there. That is all you're seeing. I got very emotional walking pretty much into each of them, but especially Super Nintendo World, because you walked in, you go up the warp pipe, which is really cool. And then you're in Peach's castle and you walk out and it's just like you are in this game. You see no trees. It looks animated. It's so bright and the music is playing. So it's so immersive, which I think is so different from a lot of the other Universal parks. I mean, they do immersive very well, but that's a little bit of a newer thing, I think, for them. So it's just that alone is such an experience to kind of be walking into this world that is
and like Kristen said,
so all-encompassing.
You can't see it from the outside, so you see this big portal, but you're like, oh, okay, I guess I have to walk through that, and you walk through it and it's like a whole different land. So it's really, really, like she said, it's very immersive, and it's just so different because you're in this whole area that's all stars and moons and water and just really pretty aesthetic. And then you walk into Dark Universe and you're like, oh, I just walked into Frankenstein's monster area.
Like a cemetery, and you're like,
I am in Transylvania. Yeah. And then same with Nintendo. It's, you walk in and you're like, oh, did I just shrink to a video game? Because what? Yeah. And then yes, with Ministry of Magic, that Harry Potter area, this one is based off of more Fantastic Beasts, so it is more Paris aesthetic. So you walk in and you feel like you're in a different country, and then you go into the ride and the ride just boop pops you right into the movie. And we walked into the line and I was like, did we just go through the Metro fleet?
It's really impressive.
The line was bizarre. It was so cool. And then the ride, we got on the ride And we're like, okay, this is just, it looks kind of Tower of Terror-ish. Like you sit in this weird vehicle. We're like, oh God, is this going to be like crazy? What's happening? Kristen was kind of freaking out. I'm a ride person. She's not
I'm not
too
a
much of a
coaster
ride
girl
person.
at all, so I was
She's
like,
not a coaster girl.
"Ugh."
She's like, is this going to drop? I was like, I don't know. I didn't watch any POVs. I wanted to be completely surprised. I was like, I have no idea what's going to happen. We got into this ride, and there's this one part, there's a couple screens. They're very crispy, very neat. You, after the screen, it turns you to this one spot, and our jaws were dropped the entire rest of the ride. We were like, what we're watching battles, and we're flipping around time zones, and it was
Yeah. I will send you the photo because they do take your photo at the end, and our whole group, like, Jesse's grabbing my leg, my face is
I'm like
jaw on the floor, hands in the air. Like, we were shocked. It was so impressive.
good.
So
And
impressive.
the animatronics, we thought they were real people. We were like, is that a person?
Yeah.
Or is it an animatronic? Are they real people? Or yeah, it was bizarre. Like it was very cool. So that, I mean, to answer your question, Ministry of Magic was like jaw-droppingly amazing.
The queue is amazing. The attraction is amazing. It's
so cool.
A 10 out of 10 experience. And I'm not even like a big Fantastic Beasts person, but
neither am I.
Whole area, like that 1920s France, they did a beautiful job with it.
Gorgeous.
It works with the other, like you were saying, there's other Harry Potter Wizarding Worlds in the other parks. This one isn't connected to it, but like physically connected to it. The other two parks obviously are like, next to each other. And then this one is a couple miles down the road. But yeah, it fits. It's so
crazy. But I will say the virtual queue is rough. It is rough. We had 7 of us in a group, and I was the only person that got a virtual queue for the first day. And then the second day there was 5 of us, and then 2 of us got a virtual queue. So that was a little better. And then the third time I went with my husband and a couple of my friends, and my husband actually got the virtual queue. And then Kristen, you went with your husband, and you guys didn't get one.
No.
So
I'm hearing
it's
this
rough.
week, nobody, because we have a couple friends from the agency that were there yesterday, and the same thing, like they weren't able to get, I think they had like 3 or 4 of them, they weren't able to get a virtual queue either. The times, so like you have to go in the app and click the little virtual queue button, and then when it's available, it lights up blue, and you can, refresh and try to get your time, and the times will pop up. And it's, if you're a Disney fan, right, you understand the stress of this, like trying to get the virtual queue at 7 a.m. or whatever it may be, right? So you're doing that at 3 separate points in the day for this attraction. And I mean, when we were doing it Monday, like the times weren't even coming up. It's just you would click virtual queue, and it was like, sorry. We're like,
yeah. And the other thing is, like, so when I was with my husband and friends, we were getting on the Donkey Kong ride, and it was like 2:55, and one of the virtual queues drops at 3:00. And now I'm like panicking because we didn't get the 11 o'clock virtual queue. I'm like panicking on the Donkey Kong ride, having a hard time focusing on the ride because I'm thinking about the virtual queue at 3:00. And I'm like, are we going to get off the ride in time? Are we going to make it? Am I going to have to do this virtual queue on the ride? And the lady, I got on the ride, and I had my phone open to the virtual queue page. And again, it's like 2:55. And she's like, don't worry. Good luck on the virtual queue. She's like, you're going to get it. Don't worry. You'll be back in plenty of time. It's a minute ride. And I was like, are you sure? Because it's 2:55. So that, like, the virtual queue is rough. I'm hoping they make it easier somehow.
Yeah.
Or pick a different system.
I mean, listen, if you want to spend your whole day waiting in line, that's your
choice.
Like, that's what I mean,
they made
the
line able to hold 7 hours worth of people. So like
7 hours.
It's very long. It's a very beautifully done long queue.
Yeah, there's stuff to look at for a full 7 hours in there. Like, you would not get, like, it moves, and you'll see some really cool stuff. But yeah, I hope that by the time May 22nd rolls around that they've
worked out the kinks.
Yeah, worked out the kinks on that one, because a lot of what I'm reading online too is people are disappointed because they are paying, right, for this preview ticket. They've heard the hype around this ride and they want to do it, and then it doesn't open until later in the day. That was my case on Monday. It didn't even open till 3:00. And then, so now you figure the amount of virtual queue times that are available are
even less
because it opened halfway through the day. So I hope, I really hope that they just like they figure it out because
Me too. I was lucky enough to go all 3 times that I went, but that was just pure luck.
yeah.
And with finger playing on the phone, and
Yeah, it is because we were trying. I
Yeah.
mean, my husband was on Wi-Fi. I wasn't on Wi-Fi. Like we were like covering all of our bases, like trying to,
Yeah.
get this done. And you figure they dropped him 3 times. We tried each time, 2 of us, and we weren't able to do. Like times
Yeah.
weren't even coming up to select. So I really
I
hope they
know.
work the bugs out and they can.
Yeah.
Well, I'd imagine that these preview kind of things are opportunities for them to work out the bugs.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I think people are getting a little upset because when the previews first started, it was originally just for team members and then team members and their families and then annual pass holders. And now it's kind of open up to anybody that would spend money for a
Like a
ticket, right?
soft opening now.
Yeah, hotel guests, if whatever, you can buy a single day ticket to go.
Yeah. The neighbor that doesn't have an annual pass.
Yeah, so people now are kind of like, oh, well, you don't have to be an annual, now you can go. It's like, well, yeah, because they're building,
They're
right?
testing
Like
it.
the amount of people every day that can go in, so they know where they need to focus to get things fixed because it opens in like 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 2.5.
Yeah, 2
So
weeks.
that's obviously why they're doing it, and I get people's frustration. It's still previews, and
Actually, it's 2 weeks today, I think, right? Is it 2 weeks today?
Maybe. I think it opens on a Thursday. I don't remember because I don't even know what day it is because it's just things are crazy. But but yeah, I get it. I mean, I was just when I was saying this to Jessie, but when we went those first 2 days of previews, I felt like everything pretty much was seamless, right? Like you were able to get a virtual queue. We were able to get on pretty much everything we wanted to get on. I'm not a coaster person, so if I can't get on Minecart Madness, like no skin off my back, I'm fine.
I did those without her on the 3rd day.
Yeah, no, I'm good. But like we pretty much got everything done we wanted to get done. And then when I went back Monday now, so like a full 2 weeks later, I felt like less was actually working than it was. Like you would think, right? Like as you get closer to the date, like things are going to amp up, right? Ramp up, and it's going to be more seamless than it was. But I feel like it kind of took a little bit of a dip the other way. So I'm interested. I am going back opening day just to, because originally that's when you could go. There were no previews. So I'm going back opening day. I'm interested, very interested. And I will report back on the crowd levels and what is, if things are going down, if it's the same experience or if they really do, in fact, kind of get it together and get everything.
Yeah. And like opening day is going to be hard because it's also Memorial Day weekend. So Kristen will be there the 22nd and 23rd, and then I'm going back on the 25th. So we do have together 3 more days to go. But it is Memorial Day weekend and grand opening. So I do expect it to be very busy. I'd be curious to see in like September, like maybe for science, we just like get a ticket in September and just see how the crowds are.
Well, and I'm wondering too, like crowd wise, I was saying this to my husband right now as an annual pass holder, if I want to go, I have to buy a separate ticket. Our annual passes do not cover that park. So,
and there's no in the future distance, hey, at this date, we're going to add it to annual passes. Like we're all just kind of waiting over here blindly. Like, are you going to add it to annual passes? I will give you however much money you want because I would rather not buy a single day ticket every single couple months when I'm like, dang, I need a trip to Dark Universe.
Right. So I'm wondering crowd wise what that's going to look like, not just giving annual pass holders, they can come in whenever, right? Like, because right now that's how it works at the other Universal parks. You don't need to make a reservation to go in. You can just go. I'm wondering how that affects the crowd levels on those like first couple days into the summer. And I'm wondering then if they don't see the levels that they want, if then we're not going to hear like, okay, now you can add it onto your pass.
Yeah, I'm also really curious when it comes to crowd levels and ticket sales. There are days already in May and June that are sold out. So what is that sold out number? How many tickets did you sell in order to have a sold out day? So I would like to see those crowd levels, which I mean, we're going on those days.
I wonder about that. with Disney too, to be honest with you. Whenever it's like a day, right, that you try to get a park, because we're annual pass holders, so you still need a park pass reservation, or you got to go check for one anyway with Disney, and it'll be like sold out. I'm like, how many people are you letting in? Like, what is that number? I want to know.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
So one thing that I am really curious about is Dark Universe, which you mentioned, because a lot of these other things you look at, How to Train Your Dragon, Nintendo, Harry Potter, these are things that still have very much a modern relevance, so to speak, whereas
Correct.
Dark Universe really seems to be harkening back to more of the classic Universal.
For sure.
So I'm curious to hear more about that, because I've seen How to Train Your Dragon. I grew up as Nintendo grew up, so those are things that I'm kind of familiar with as general concepts. But I'm really curious as to how they made Dark Universe work and how you think it works.
Kristen, I'm going to give this one to you because I feel like I've been talking a lot.
Well, I mean, you have to understand you're talking to two like Halloween girlies here. Like, we both are very much into like spooky stuff. Halloween is our favorite holiday. We do go to Halloween Horror Nights every year. We go for work, but then we also, go for fun. Like, we go and we do what we need to do for the agency. And then like, we're like, okay, now a fun day. So we do like that stuff off the bat. Like, we are fans of that spooky vibe.
Monsters.
So I think they did a phenomenal job. I think it speaks to, I was saying before, my dad has always been into the classic, like, Universal monsters. It speaks to that generation and the people that, kind of grew up with that and have that love. And then there's enough there for younger kids. Like, they have a monster makeup experience where you can get your face painted like a monster. They have, the Invisible Man walking around. He's like wrapped in the bandages. They have a Bride of Frankenstein meet and greet. Frankenstein's actually with her now. I saw them the other night, but the line was cut off already. So I couldn't get Frankenstein. But I think that there's enough that even if you're not really necessarily, you don't really care about
spooky person,
spooky things or Universal monsters, there's still enough to just see and engage with in that land. That's the one where they have the Burning Blade Tavern. So it's actually like a bar, but there's a big windmill on top. And then every, I don't know, half hour, 20 minutes,
30 minutes,
bursts into flames. So that's so cool to watch. The Monsters Unchained ride, I wouldn't recommend it for children, at least my kids that are 10 and 7. Like, that's a no-go for them. It's a little spooky. But as somebody who gets motion sick and doesn't like roller coasters, I did that ride and I loved it. So I think it has a decent audience that would be into it. I mean, Jessie gets motion sick with screens too, and she was able to handle it. So
the screens are like, they're flat screens. They're not curved screens. And the flat screens just looks like you're in it. So if they show a monster and there's like a universe behind the monster that you're escaping into, it looks like you're falling into the universe. So it's not right up in your face. It's not one of those screens that's going to make you dizzy because it's far enough away and it's crispy and flat. So you don't get that kind of motion sickness when you're in there. Also, there's a lot of animatronics. So it's not just screens. It is like, like maybe 70% animatronics?
Yeah, there was a lot. And like, again, there were a lot of screens too, but the screens would be in the back, right?
Of the animatronic. So you don't really have to, It's like a universe behind like this huge, like 7, 8, 9 foot animatronic. So the animatronics were so impressive and they articulated well. You're like, again, is this a person? What?
A guy in a suit? Like, what's happening there?
What? Yeah. So the ride itself is really cool. And it is, I know you haven't been to Universal in a while, but on Forbidden Journey in the castle, it's like a big arm and you sit on this arm and the arm kind of moves like this. So, it kind of wiggles around all different directions. So you're not like flipping and turning and moving all around like that. It's more of a whoop, 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 whoop. It like swoops side to side and a little bit back as you're going through this huge building with all these animatronics and screens. So it's not one of those rides that will make you dizzy if you're like a dizzy person. but that ride is very impressive as well. That's second on my list.
I really like that
Ministry of
one.
Magic is first, and Monsters Unchained is second.
But yeah, I think there's plenty to do for pretty much anybody back there. And again, even if you're not interested at all, I think anybody can appreciate the artistry that went into it.
Oh, yeah. Especially at night.
Yeah, it's a totally different thing at night. And another little fun detail is like Frankenstein Manor, which is where the ride is, they have like electricity kind of like pulsing through it, right? Like that Frankenstein lore. And then at certain times it will pulse like throughout the land. So then all of the lights in the land will flicker, you know, and it's such a fun little, so again, like all these just little details that I think anybody, you know.
And like even some of the signs have like that electricity running through the sign. So it's all those little details that you normally wouldn't see just walking in and walking out.
Right.
You really have to stop and look around. And that pulsing is not all the time, every day, you know, every second of the day. You have to be there for at least like 30 minutes. And then eventually it'll make a really loud pulse sound, and it vibrates through the whole land.
Yeah.
So that was something we were so impressed with. We were like, wow, that detail, that was so cool.
Right.
It's little things like that too that really make it so immersive.
So it might not be your favorite land, right? Like you might, like my kids probably will be like, this is cool, but then they'll want to go somewhere.
It's not my favorite land, and I thought it would be.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, I definitely think that there's something for everybody there. Yeah, it was just fun. And I think the character interactions in that land, I mean, all over, just right off the board, the character interactions.
That land was the best.
This park are off the charts. And I hope that when the capacity is building and it's at, you know, max capacity, that they keep all of those interactions, because they are so personalized and they add so much to the experience. But in Dark Universe, there's a lot, you know, you have, I don't know, I just feel like there's more there for some reason, between like, there's like a violinist walking around and Igor. And so
yeah, and even if you don't know who Igor is, he's a mad scientist. He looks like a mad scientist. He has the glasses, he has the coat, he has his bag, and he's like making a ruckus, and he's talking to guests. And even if it's like a simple, hi, how you doing? Oh, I'm good, how are you? And he's like very spastic, you know, just like he's supposed to be. He was walking next to my husband. My husband's like, oh, hi. And Jake's like, we had a little conversation with him, and he was like, oh, did you get that on video? And I was like, no. I was like, you were just talking to Igor. Like, it was just a normal thing, you know? So those little interactions really make things special, because there's not really like a line to meet them. They're just wandering around.
Yeah. Which is nice, because again, going back to Disney, at least in Disney World, Disneyland, they do still kind of roam around. But in Disney World, like, it's very difficult, I think, to get really good interaction with a character in this day and age.
So quick.
I mean, at least coming from somebody who's been going to Disney since the early 80s, like, it's very different now. You know, you have to wait in line, or you got to do a character meal, right, to kind of like get that personalized.
And even if you do wait in line, I mean, you're waiting in a minimum of a 30-minute line, and you get a 30-second interaction if you're lucky. You know, it's like, okay, hi, how are you? Great, you look great today. All right, can we take a photo? Like, it's really fast. Where when we went to Epic, even the simplest things, the violinist would come up to you and like violin in your face, and you're like, wow, that was impressive, you know? So it's just simple things like that, and they have that all around in all the lands. Every land has something different.
When we did the Bride of Frankenstein, Frankenstein wasn't with her, Frankenstein's monster, whatever his name is. He wasn't with her when we did it. It was just the Bride of Frankenstein. And we were at the end of the evening. So, you know, a little bit more lax at the end of the night with that sort of thing. But how long did she spend with us? Like 15 minutes or something? Like,
it felt like 15 minutes.
Ridiculous amount of time. And we were like a group of 3, and like, well, then we had somebody else that was behind us who was doing their own, like a friend of ours. But I mean, she was talking to each of us individually, then each of us as a group, and she was glitching like the monster. It was,
she was like super glitchy, and I was like, oh my god,
I felt bad. I'm like, oh my god, I'm taking so much of her time. But I'm like, no, she's talking to me, like, she wants to be here doing this. Like, this is what, like, she just kept going. And I don't think I've ever had a character interaction last 15-20 minutes like that.
But
like,
I was like, do I cut her off? Like, is somebody waiting? Or do I say thank you so much and just leave? Or do I like continue? You know, it's one of those things that she really spent so much time with us. I was so impressed. I was like, this is so cool. Like, they really gave you that TLC you really needed, you know? Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that.
I'm curious. One of the things that we've seen Disney kind of doing a little bit more with those roaming characters, especially Galaxy's Edge. You'll see that. One thing that I've noticed is a lot of times those roaming characters at Disney tend to get mobbed, and I
Yes,
think
they do.
that's part of the reason why they don't do it as often. Was that not the case with Universal? And why do you think there was that difference?
Honestly, okay, so I feel like when it comes to Star Wars specifically, the people that are typically on the ground are masked. So they're not like talking point characters where I feel like, if you're Chewie, you're gonna and you're gonna hang out one spot and everyone's gonna whoop right around you. Where with Igor, like he's a person. He can roam and free and be like, get out of my face, get out of my way, and walk away. Where
That's true.
he
You do
can
kind of have to like look for them. You're like,
you
oh, is that
do.
him?
But I feel like he can control his own area, and maybe he had some kind of character attendant with him, but they must have been in disguise because I didn't see anybody.
I did see one with the Invisible Man. That I did see.
See?
Yeah.
And maybe that's because of the way he's wrapped. Maybe he can't fully see.
Sure.
Who knows? It could be having to do with, costume related, but Igor, I didn't see one. And like when Jake passed him, he came out of a hole and he just appeared. He just showed up. He didn't have anybody with him.
I don't know what the difference is. Maybe you're right. They blend in so people don't know. And I know like at one point, like the Invisible Man was like up on some steps. And then like the violinist was like at one point up like on a little balcony sort of thing. So maybe like that's also how they, like if it starts
they control it themselves, they can.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
if they
No,
start
and
to feel like they're being swarmed, they
can go up.
to go up higher,
Yeah. They
And I do
are
think
able to control themselves a little easier because they're not masked. And where like Rey, when she comes out and about, she's usually up on a platform. She's not usually on the ground.
Well, I was actually going to bring up Rey as an example of like we actually had an interaction on our last trip in February, where my daughter ended up having a full-on conversation with Rey.
Love that.
And it was like unlike when The Mandalorian was coming out as a masked character versus someone who's not.
Yeah.
I think that you're right, that there is, if nothing else, there's even something a little more natural to an unmasked character that makes the interaction flow a little bit differently. So yeah, that's a great point, because that was we had never had an interaction like that, and we basically said, okay, we got to keep moving because we didn't want to take up all our time, but it was one of those things where we did get to have more of that extended interaction.
Yeah.
But certainly not anything that you could have with that. By the way, your great Chewie impression.
Thank you.
And like anytime that Chewie is around, just absolutely mobbed.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, he's a fuzzy character that you want to hug, and everybody wants to meet him. Where Rey, me and Kristen have had this conversation before. When we're meeting Mickey Mouse, we can make up his own words. We talk to Mickey Mouse. He's not talking back to us. We control the conversation. So if we're done, we leave. If you meet Cinderella, she is a person. She is a face character. She's controlling the conversation. So if she cuts you off, you're like, okay, goodbye. I guess we're done. So it's really hard and to talk to a face character when you're in a line and you're meeting and greeting with them. It's harder than like a walk by interaction. So when you guys met Rey, it's a walk by interaction. She controls that. You control that. She can spin your princess around if she wants to. She is not in a line and a guest is not waiting on her. So I feel like when it comes to Universal, all of their characters were like that. The only character meet and greet that we had to wait in a line for was Toothless. Toothless is a dragon. He doesn't talk. So you're waiting in a line for a masked character, or an animatronic, whichever you choose.
He does have a Viking with him.
We waited in line for a real dragon, so like I don't know any of that. It's true. Yeah, he was real. So I don't know what all that is. But anyway, yeah. So Vikings like walk around and they like come up to you. We were taking photos of treats and snacks and pretty cookies. And the Vikings literally came up behind us and scared us. And they were like, oh, that smells so good. What is that? And we were like, oh, it's a cookie. So it's one of those things that they choose their own fate. They choose who they want to interact with and who they don't want to interact with. And that made it so immersive. Like we were just shocked that the Vikings just came up to us. We were like speechless, didn't know what to say.
Well, and what about in the wand shop too? In
the wand shop?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So in the Wizarding World, there's a new wand shop, and they've created. This is wild to me. Like, I'm gonna get emotional talking about it. They created not only a character, right? Like lore behind this shop and this wand designer. They've created this whole character with a backstory, and they actually have her in the store walking around, and they have these exclusive wands for Epic Universe that you can only buy in Epic, in that wand store. They're different than the ones that they have in the other places. They do have the other ones there too, but these are very specific. They come in a different box. So they actually then have this character has a backstory on how she designed each of these wands. And so as you are looking for the wand, deciding what you want to buy, and this is also genius from a marketing perspective, she's sitting there telling you like why she designed it and the traits of the person that would pick this wand, and how her philosophy of wand selection is different from Ollivander's, who's the wand designer in the other Wizarding World. And we all bought wands, literally.
We were all in tears, first of all.
It worked, marketing successful, because we all walked out of there with wands. We probably, not all of us would have if she wasn't there giving us this amazing immersive experience. I mean, she was talking to Jessie about being an artist and photography, and brought us outside to look at the statue, which was her inspiration for the wand design that Jessie bought. Like, this was a character interaction that in my 40 years of Disney going and park going, I have never seen the likes of, and I don't know that I will ever see the likes of it again. It was
I don't know if she's just good at reading personalities, or I don't know if she read our minds or what, but like, when you buy a wand, on the inside of a box there's usually a description, and it tells you what the wand is about, what it's made of, who it's made for, if you're an inspirational person, if you're a trusting person, if you're someone that likes mystery, kind of gives you a little tidbit of what this wand symbolizes. She came up to us and was like, oh, you're an inspiration, you do this, creativity, and all of the stuff that she said was not on the label.
Yeah.
And I was
she was right about like each one of us. It
was bizarre. And then we have another guy with us. His name was Christopher, and he was really into this one wand, and he read this description, and he was like, I'm not really sure what this means. Like, he's like, I don't really know if this is me. This wand isn't really speaking to me. And she talked to him and again read his mind or felt his energy. I don't know what she did. She worked some voodoo magic
and was like, actual witchcraft.
You are an adventurer. You inspire others. And he's like, we're all in tears at this point because she is like giving us a fortune, and it's true. And it's nowhere on the box. It's not on our shirts. We're like, what did you just do?
Yeah. It
so
was
cool.
It was amazing. And that's what I'm saying. I did see her again on Monday, but she was talking to other people. I wasn't going to be like, oh my God, I'm your biggest fan.
So cool.
I'm gonna buy another wand if you tell me to, I promise.
The interactions are just incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know how they found their people. It's just real. She's a real wizard. I don't know what to tell you.
It had to be real wizardry. It just had to be, because there's no other logical explanation why all of us were in tears. All of us left there with wands, like magic, actual magic.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I was curious about, and you may have just answered it, was there anything? I know that you probably had some expectations of the park and the attractions and things you were going to see, but was there anything that surprised you? Was anything that you didn't expect, or anything that you were looking at and you're just like, that would probably be okay, and really ended up wowing you?
So the photos that Universal released of the drawings of Epic Universe
Concept
look
art.
look exactly like the park. And it's insane because typically you see the concept art and you're like, oh, okay, they're going to do some kind of rendition of this, right? Like it's not going to look identical, so I'm not going to get my hopes up too high. We walked in and we were like,
Yeah.
this is the photo.
It actually looks better in person than the
It looks
concept art.
better in person, which that is something so rare. You don't typically get that. You don't get an artist renderation and like, yes, thank you. And like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You're there.
We are calling out Disney a little bit here, honestly, because this is, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Do you remember the original concept art for Galaxy's Edge? We didn't get all of that. Do you remember the original concept art for Toy Story Land? We didn't get all that.
Have you seen Epcot recently?
I mean, we were promised so much with Epcot, and we got gardens that took 5 years to build. Like, I mean, listen, I love Epcot. I love her. You know, she was opened a little bit before I was born, so I feel like we've grown up together. She's my girl. But like, I mean, it was so crazy to actually like the concept art that we've been looking at for the past 5 years that they've been building this, not only line up, but actually be better than what the pictures were. And I think that was very surprising to be like, oh yeah, I've seen this because I saw the photo and that
of the drawing,
and that this is, I know exactly what this is because I've been looking at this, you know, drawing for 5 years. So,
and it's some weird names too. You're like, a Kronos, what's that? And you're like, oh, that's the Kronos. It's right there.
Yeah, I know.
There it is.
There she is.
It's got the tokens in it and everything.
I think I was surprised personally by like my very emotional reaction to some things, like Super Nintendo. Like I did grow up with Nintendo. I had a Nintendo. I had a Super Nintendo. I played Duck Hunt, you know, like the whole, you know, Mario Kart, the whole thing. I wasn't as into it as like my brother, or, you know, like I played it, obviously. I'm a child of the 80s, but I get it. I walked in there and was overcome by emotion because I really did feel like I was walking into like the games that I played when I was a kid, and I wasn't expecting, I expected to be wowed, but I didn't expect to be overcome by this emotional nostalgia that like smacked me across the face.
Yeah. And see, for me, I'm opposite of that because I didn't grow up with it. I've only gotten into Nintendo the last couple of years. My husband plays Mario Kart. I was never a Nintendo person. We had Game Boys and I had like the joysticks with Pac-Man on it. We never had Nintendo Switches or anything like that. So when I walked into it, even me, I was like, oh my God, I want to go jump on the question mark. I want to go hit the coins. And then we walked into Donkey Kong and I was like, I've driven on that because I've been playing it the last couple of years. And I'm like, oh my God. So even for me, I was wowed. And that is not something I grew up with. So I didn't even have the nostalgia aspect of it. And I love Nintendo World so much more than I thought I would.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, I was not expecting to love it as much as I do. I was like, oh, Dark Universe, I'm going to live there. Thank you so much. And then I walked into Nintendo and I was like, maybe I'll live here instead.
Yeah. So here and over there. Like
I'll just like jump back and forth. No, it's so cool. Just seeing that in real life. You're like, you know, Christopher, we were with him and I was like, I've driven on that Donkey Kong like in the video game. And he's like, well, why don't we go do it in real life? And I was like, yes, let's go do it in real life. Let's do that. Like just something so simple like that. It's like, it didn't even click to me that like, oh my God, I can go drive it in real life now.
Yeah.
What? So cool. Yeah, it was neat. And then yes, the character experiences were something we didn't expect. Like I had no idea they were going to have characters around.
And the food. I do want to talk. I was blown away.
The food is great.
In most locations. I know Jessie didn't have a good experience at one place and I had a mediocre experience at another place. But pretty much everything I've eaten in that park is a banger. Like it was good. And we've only eaten at the quick service locations. We have not dined. One of the sit downs is not open yet. The other one I think is like soft open. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's soft open.
we've only eaten at the quick service. So you figure like quick service is not, right? This is the knowledge, the common thought that quick service food is not going to be as high quality as if you're sitting down at a restaurant. The quick service food here blew me away. Everything I ate was delicious. We ate at the one in Harry Potter, whatever it is.
Please sit in.
So like Café de la Sirène or whatever
that
it
one.
is. Yeah, that one. French major, guys. So thank you very much for letting me use my 4-year degree in saying that one line. But the food there was great. And we ordered a bunch of things because we were with a lot of people. And then again, just for, social media purposes, we all tend to like order one thing and then we pass it around and share it and everybody takes their photos. And so you figure we eat a lot of cold food because we're photographing it and everything before we're actually getting to eat it. And it goes through, 6-7 hands. Even not hot, this food was so good. And I was shocked at this was just like a quick service restaurant. I did not I expected theme park food, regular old theme park food like you would find. I mean, regular Universal food is fine, but that's what I was expecting. And I was blown away by the quality and how delicious everything was.
Honestly, in Dark Universe, Das Steakhouse, steak as in steak to the heart, not as in a piece of steak. It was so good. It's dark. It's spooky. The vibe in there is fun. The lights flicker. They flicker like red and yellow, and it's so cool. And then the food on top of that, the atmosphere and the food being on point, like the food was so good. Everything we ate in there was delicious, including the weird items. So like I thought there was was it pancetta? Is that what it was? No, panna cotta. Panna cotta. It was a panna cotta brain, and it had like this gooey blood. It looked really pretty, but I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like that. This looks really weird. It's not really my style. I don't know about this. And I tried it and I was like, wow, that's impressive. It was so good. Everything we ate was so good. And again, like Kristen said, we got like 6 or 7 different dishes because we had a lot of people with us and everyone tried a little bit of everything. And oh my God, it was so good. That's the place I would go back to, is Das Steakhouse. It was, oh my God, it was amazing.
And it wasn't just us enjoying everything either. Like that was what everyone was saying. Walked away from each of these restaurants being like, that was so
and
good.
Pizza Moon, another shout out because Pizza Moon was so good. I was with my husband and 2 friends and we got 3 different pizzas and a pasta. And oh my God, it was amazing. For pizza, I was like, this is a quick service pizza, but there's like
and it's
a bunch of fun stuff on it.
Florida, y'all. It's tough.
I know, but it
Not
was
easy.
It was so good. I was like, wow, I was so impressed. And even the pasta, I was like, this is a theme park pasta? Did I just go to the Italian restaurant across the street? Or it was so good. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was not expecting
to be good food at a theme park,
and I definitely
at a quick service.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see because on opening day, I am going to one of the sit-down restaurants.
Yeah. Atlantic.
I'm interested to see if that now is like stellar off of the charts, or if it's kind of all in that same like band of delicious. I'm very interested to see. So
I'm also curious to see for you how long it takes to get your food. Because the quick services, some of them, so the one in Harry Potter, Lisa Wren, took a little longer. But the Das Steakhouse, that was relatively quick. So it maybe just depended on like the timing we were there. I don't know. We were there about like 1:30, 2 o'clock for both.
And we should say too that the ordering process at Universal is different from Disney. So if you're not familiar with it, most of the quick service restaurants in Universal, you come in, you get a table, you order your food on the app, on the Universal app. Then it comes up, are you here? Yes. Put your table number in. It has a little QR code, or you can punch in your table number and then you do that and then it just comes out to you.
Right. Cool. So you sit at your table.
Which I think
go up and order.
Chef's kiss. Because it's great. Hot, it's crowded. You do not want to be like fighting for your life for a table with a tray of like tater tots in your hand, Woody's lunchbox. I'm looking at you. And this is just so much easier. And it seems so much more civilized because again, like you're not fighting for your life out here, gonna spill your drink and your food, and it just comes to you. So it even has like a little bit of a sit down restaurant.
It does.
To it.
And the like Doss Steakhouse, we walked right in. There was no line. Where in Harry Potter and when I went to Pizza Moon, there is a line to be seated. So you wait in a line to be seated. A server will seat you. They'll show you your table, and then that's when you place your mobile order. Or you can place your mobile order while you're waiting in line. And then once you sit down and get your table, you click the I'm here button and type in your table number. So if you want things to speed up a bit, talk in line. But the line wasn't long. I mean, I think we waited 5 minutes in a line to be seated, and that was the only line you really had to wait in when it came to food. So that's really nice. It's a really nice feature that Universal does. I really love that about Universal. Yeah.
All right. So one thing that I did want to touch on was the hotel. Is it pronounced Helios?
Yes.
All right. So let's hear a little bit about the hotel.
I love Helios.
Yeah.
It is so beautiful.
Yeah, so we were lucky enough, we were able to grab a reservation. It was originally supposed to open on the 22nd. When they announced previews, they opened it for the 16th or the 15th it opened?
16th.
16th? Yeah, and then whatever. Again, time.
We were at Epic 17-18.
What's going on? So they opened it that like day before the Epic officially, went into previews. So we were able to snag a room. We got really lucky. We got upgraded to a park view room. So like Snap's Helios team. And it's a simple hotel. I'll put it that way. Like the lobby is no Grand Floridian. Like you don't walk in there completely like, oh, this giant atrium, right? They want you to focus on that view. So it does have like this beautiful glass window in the back. Yeah. And that's where they want you to focus, right? Because then you could see the whole park out that window. So there's not a lot like going on in the lobby because that's where they want you to focus. They have a restaurant that serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's a sit down. That restaurant has a bar that opens in the afternoon and the evenings. They have like a little marketplace where you can get Starbucks coffee, kind of grab and go stuff, your Universal Studios store. And then they have their own private entrance into the park, which is amazing because you can go through security right there. Easy. You get your ticket scan to get into the park right there. And you walk in and you're in the back of the park. So you're kind of between like Dark Universe and Harry Potter.
Well, and one note about the line really quick. So when we were entering from Helios into the park, the line was very long to get through security. It like went out the door like to the pool. And we were like, oh God, this is a long line. But guys, it moved so quick. It went so fast. We were probably in line like 4 or 5 minutes. Like it was so quick to get through this very long, intimidating line. They were hustling and going, and it's the same. It's the security. You take off your backpack, it goes through security conveyor belt, and then you walk through the security
metal detector.
Yeah, the metal detector, and it was so quick. And then they scanned our face to get into the park, and we were in Epic. Like it was. The line looks intimidating, but it was not. It
was great. And I mean, the theme park view was phenomenal. I think all of us, again, got emotional when we got there because we hadn't even been in the park yet. So like, this was our first kind of glimpse of everything is looking out this window. Yeah. It was beautiful. It's so gorgeous. The pool is fantastic.
I dream about that view.
The pool view is fantastic. I really don't have enough good things to say about it. Bar Helios, I thought was beautiful. They have like a rooftop bar there that overlooks the theme park.
Gorgeous.
The food,
and if you can get that at sunset,
yes,
we saw day and night, and it was stunning.
So pretty. I think it was a little bit expensive for what it was. But
yeah,
I think
for sure.
That's normal. It's a rooftop bar at a snazzy hotel. Like if you think you're walking in there paying McDonald's prices, like you clearly need to have your head checked. So it was pricey, but everything we had was pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't have any complaints.
Yeah.
Everything we ate was delicious, but yeah, it's expensive. I mean, it was like $36 for like 2 little Wagyu sliders, but those Wagyu sliders were like the best ones I've ever had. So I'm going to go pay $36 for a couple of sliders.
So yeah, personally. I mean, it was beautiful. I highly recommend staying there if you're going to make like Epic kind of the focal point of your Universal vacation. The buses do go like to the other theme parks from Helios, so it's not that you can't get there. You can. It's a little bit of a bus drive. It probably would be, I don't know how far away is it, 2 miles?
10 minutes?
It's maybe 10 minutes. It's not
Maybe.
far. I mean, with Orlando traffic, you never know. But they do have like designated bus lanes, which is great. So you're not necessarily waiting in traffic on I-4. But yeah, I highly recommend staying there. It just adds to that immersive kind of experience almost, like, because you're just surrounded by this park. You cannot, like, the view is there. You cannot get away from it.
Well, and it's good to note that with that hotel specifically and some of the other hotels as well, you do get into Epic Universe an hour early. And that hour, they actually opened Nintendo World, at least for us at this time, when we were there. They opened the Super Nintendo World as a portal. They opened that an hour early. And they opened Stardust Racers early. So we were able, Kristen did not ride, but I did. I rode Stardust Racers, which was incredible. I don't know, Chris, if you remember Dueling Dragons whenever you were in Universal as a kid, but Dueling Dragons was like this really cool ride that intertwined 2 different dragon colors. They did the same thing with Stardust Racers, but better. There's a yellow track and a green track, and they intertwine and they twirl all around, and oh my God.
It looks beautiful. As someone who doesn't ride coasters, it's beautiful to look at, especially at night. They don't light the track at night. They only light the coaster cars.
It looks like stars.
It looks like comets. It's really cool. And one other little detail about Stardust Racers, which I will never ride. I want to be very clear about that. But on the back of the cars, I'm going to cry when I talk about this. They put flux capacitors from Back to the Future. And if you're watching, I'm showing everybody right now, I actually have a DeLorean tattoo because that is my favorite movie ever. And I'm obsessed. So when I saw the flux capacitors, I about passed out.
And that's one thing. So with the early entry, we waited 10 minutes for Stardust Racers. We got right on. We were off within 20 minutes, like in the line, put our stuff in lockers, which the lockers are face recognition also, and they are front to back lockers. So you go in one way. When you come out of the ride, you put your face there, scans your face, and it opens. You don't need your little card anymore for the lockers. They are twice as big as the other parks, which is great.
And they're free, by the way.
And they're free. And they open from the other side. So you're not having to go to like a locker point to put in your stuff and then futzy with that. And no, it's in the line. Just put it in, go up the line, take it out, like very easy. But because Kristen didn't go, she wanted to see the flux capacitors. So her and Christopher actually asked a team member, like, hey, like, can we go up and see the flux capacitors? Because we heard like they're on there, and Kristen's like, I'm obsessed. I need to,
please, I'm begging you, look at my tattoo.
Yeah. So they actually did let them up on the launch area.
Let us up on like the exit platform. And so we were actually able to go up there and get photos of it launching and coming back in the flux capacitors, which was so nice. I mean, they didn't have to do that, but it was really
and
nice.
Kristen was like, she told me like, oh my God, Jessie, get a video of the flux capacitors, but like you have to put everything in the lockers before you go through a metal detector, so you cannot have phones or cameras or anything. So I went downstairs and I'm like, Kristen, I'm so sorry, I couldn't get it for you. Like I had to put my phone away. I'm like, I don't have anything. Like,
and I was like, but now I already got it.
Yeah, so that was really cool. So that was something for us. Stardust Racers was like really high on our list of things to do, so we booked it there first. Should we have gone to Nintendo? Maybe.
It was so crowded though. I think that's
so
like
crowded. Everyone rushed there when we were like, nah, let's go to Stardust.
Even on Monday when I was there, we didn't have early entry, my husband and I, when we went, because we weren't staying there. We just dropped the kids off at school and then went. And they do kind of make you like, they let you in early, but make you like queue up. They don't let you on anything. But again, like by the time we even got to Super Nintendo World, I felt like it was still like jacked up because it's the first one that opened. So I feel like people go there and then they don't. They never leave.
It like never, the wait times like don't come down because it is so high from the early entry, and that is the one that they opened first. Which again, that's great for early entry people, but like when you go as a regular person, you kind of have to wait till the end of the night to go on some of those Nintendo rides because they are very
it just jacks up that land pretty much like the rest of the day. So I think
unfortunately
have like 2 portals open in Stardust Racers to like
that would be great
a little bit because
that would be great. Like if they opened like I don't know Monsters and or like Isle of Berk and Nintendo. I don't know, just something to control the crowd a little more. But and maybe they will.
Great perk of staying at any of the Universal
such a good
hotels
perk
Helios especially, because you could just walk right in, like right there and do it.
Yeah, no bus rides or anything.
No, you just
It was
show up.
such a nice perk for us. And they do have Starbucks inside Helios, in case anyone
It
needs
serves
coffee.
Starbucks coffee.
Hey, but my serving Starbucks coffee was very, very close to a regular caramel macchiato.
Yeah, and they do have oat milk. I know at Terra Luna they serve Starbucks coffee, but when I asked for oat milk in my coffee, they're like, "Sorry, we don't have it." But here they did. So if you're an oat milk person in your coffee, Helios has you covered. Oh, and the gelato at Helios was so good too. They have like a gelato counter.
So good. It was so good.
Doggies.
Sorry about that. Someone rang the doorbell, and now my dog is going nuts.
He's doing his job as a dog, you know. I love it. You're so cute.
I swear, he's 11. He's basically like an 80-year-old man. So basically, anybody comes to the door, he's like, "Get off my lawn." So
I get that.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, the gelato at Helios was really, really good.
Yes.
They have this like homemade gelato.
So good.
So good. Would be such a fun like late night snack.
Tiramisu. It's like tiramisu and baklava and like mango, and you're like, what?
Yeah, it was really good.
Oh my god, the
we literally
flavors
just sat there like sampling them for like a solid 45 minutes. We're like, okay, I'll take a little bit more of that one. Like, it's for science. It's for the people. The people need to know.
And we were like doing math too, because there was 4 of us, and she's like, okay, it's like 2 per person. And we're like, okay, so we get 8 flavors.
We're like, and like, off of each other's
you need a little bigger scoop of this one so that we can all try that one, and you only want this flavor. So, oh my god, it was so good. And they were like, well, my favorite's the mango, and you didn't even try that. And I was like, well, can I try it? And she's like, yeah. And she gave us another sample, even though we maxed out our
sample limit. Yeah.
Well, there was like what, 10 or 12 flavors, and we only got to try 8 of them. And then she was like, okay, here's another one. And we're like, yes.
No, that was
so good.
And again, like a nice little touch, you know, like a little dessert.
Yeah. And everyone, I mean, I don't know if it's because it was opening day, but like everybody was so nice. Like all the team members working, the entire staff, like props to them, because everybody inside the hotel and outside in Epic, like everyone was amazing. They were all so sweet. Like I want to just take them all home with me.
Yeah, every team member we encountered,
so
even
good.
at the park, was really great, really helpful. Yeah,
I loved it.
It was great.
Well, people who have listened to the podcast before have heard me talk time and time again about how great We Do Travel Right is and how they should be using it for all of their vacations. And they certainly have just heard a whole bunch of information, and it's just a sliver of I think what you guys could tell us about this one experience that you've had.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you taking the time. This was a lot of fun. If you wanted to now give people, how can they follow you, learn more about what's going on at Epic Universe and other either Universal or Disney or whatever properties, and where can they find more to see, more to look at, listen to, whatever?
Yeah, so we actually we're on Instagram. It's just at We Do Travel Right, and we have been posting a ton of Epic Universe stuff lately. We even have a separate Universal Instagram account because we found, I mean, basically like a year and a half ago, that there's so much Universal that it would start eating into, I mean,
overlapping.
We do everything at We Do Travel Right, so we put everything on our little Instagram. So that one is We Do Universal Right, and we have everything there as well. And then we just started our own YouTube channel, so we already have like a full Helios video up, a tour of the room. The days that we've spent in the park so far at Epic, there's videos there. And then we just, cover everything. So events at Disney, we, film what's going on there and we share it. So, not just our travelers, but if you're thinking about traveling, kind of get an idea of what you want to spend your money on, your hard-earned money, to see if an event is right for you. So you can find us there. And then our website, obviously, wedotravelright.com. And yeah, exciting. We actually too are headed out to Disneyland in a couple weeks for the 70th
Hello.
celebration.
It's in 1 week and 1 day.
Oh,
Wow.
okay. See, I told you. I think the takeaway from this is that I have no idea what time, where I am, what's happening. I don't know.
We leave in a week.
Yeah, so that's fine. I'm not ready for that at all, but that's totally okay. So we're actually doing that. So we're going to be posting a lot of that stuff. And then, like I said, I'm going back to Epic the 22nd and the 23rd to cover the opening. Jessie will be there the 25th. So like even more Epic.
You missed like the most important part about Disneyland, Kristen. Where else are we going?
Okay, so we're also going to Universal Studios Hollywood. I have not been there since I lived in California.
I've never been there, so I'm excited.
She's never been there. And they actually have an event going on right now, Universal Fan Fest nights, where, again, I'm going to get emotional talking about this, but they're, it's a whole bunch of different properties that they're, celebrating and doing fan stuff for. But one of them is Back to the Future. And they actually filmed the movie at there. That's where they filmed it. Courthouse Square is still there. So they actually dressed it like the 1950s, and they're allowing you to actually walk around the set, and they have performers acting out scenes of the movie, and then like the lightning striking the clock tower. And I've already apologized to Jessie so profusely for the fact that I will be absolutely feral during this event. I will spend my entire paycheck on merchandise. I'm going to embarrass her like so bad.
It's okay. She can embarrass me in person, and I'm going to put it on YouTube and Instagram so that you guys can see it. That's how that's going to go.
Girl, I'm so sorry. Like, even if you're going to watch me later down the line, if you decide I apologize, because I have no chill. I'm not going to be cool at all. I'm going to be I'm going to cry. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to cry. It's going to be
a whole thing.
Wildly entertaining to watch me lose my mind. So
yeah.
If you can't tell, I'm beyond excited for that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be so fun. And
yeah,
as long as Universal and theme parks in general keep doing cool stuff, like, we're going to be there, and we're going to help you get there, right? Like, that's the whole point, is we want you to get there. We want you to know what to eat and know what to do and how to spend your money. So, so excited.
Awesome. And I'll definitely be linking to some of these things in the show notes, so people will be able to see firsthand, get to see you freaking out and enjoying to the fullest all of these different things. So
I love it.
So excited. No, I got my outfit already. I'm ready to go.
Well, and I one thing, my wife and I kind of fancy ourselves like, we, especially Disney, we know Disney, etc. And so for a long time we were just like, well, we don't really need, we do travel, right? We know what we're doing. There was one year where it was Christmas morning, and I was, it was that's when the 60-day window opened. So Christmas morning, I was up at 5:30 in the morning, getting ready to get dining reservations. And that was pretty much at the moment when we realized this is nuts. And we haven't looked back since.
Yeah,
so
that's the thing.
Even if you feel like you're an expert, you don't need somebody telling you what to do, etc. It's just so worth it to just have if something can help make your planning easier and make the whole thing less stressful for you. Why, and the great thing is, you can have the level of control. You're working one-on-one with somebody, so you can kind of be like, I really like doing this part of the planning. So, and so they'll cater things to you. So
yeah. And that's the thing with Kristen and I too. Like, we're doing all the socials, but we need reservations. I'm not making my butt up at 5 a.m. We're going to just text our dining team and be like, hey, can you grab this for us? Because our dining team is top notch. Yeah. They are they're great.
I'm not getting up at 5 a.m. Christmas morning or any morning to try and get dining reservations for anything. So, no.
Yeah, but our team will do that for you. So,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's nice.
All right. Well, thanks very much. This was a lot of
Thanks,
fun.
Chris.
I guess I've got to plan a Universal trip. I mean,
You do.
especially my wife is a big Harry Potter fan, especially.
Yeah.
So, she's
do.
been dying to go anyway. It's been more, and especially like you guys have been saying, it's not one of those things like, well, I can pop over to Universal for a day. It's just not going to happen that way.
Yeah, no, not
you got to
anymore.
get a wand and you got to do spells, because that is like such a fun aspect of Harry Potter. It's something that you can't do anywhere else. So definitely gonna do that. You got to make a trip.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much. This was a lot of fun again, and I'll be watching.
Thanks, Chris.
Perfect. We'll see you when you come down. We'll meet you at Universal.
Yeah.
Well, that'll put a bow on another episode of the Maza's Musings podcast. Obviously, Jessie and Kristen have a ton of really valuable information, as do pretty much everybody on the We Do Travel Right team. So if you're looking to take a trip, I recommend them 100%. It doesn't matter if you think you know everything there is to know about planning a vacation, whether it's to Disney or to Universal or to a cruise or an all-inclusive. They can help you out. They can take the stress away. Highly recommend them. If you're planning a trip, go to wedotravelright.com/Maza. That's wedotravelright.com/Maza, and they'll help you get your next magical vacation started today. Honestly, what else is magical is the amount of support that you guys have given this little podcast over the past year plus. We're coming up on a year and a half that we've been doing this now, and your support and listenership is so appreciated. I can't say enough about the interactions that we've had. If anybody wants to join the conversation, they can go to any of our social media. You can find the Maza's Musings podcast on Facebook. You can go to Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads at Maza's Musings Pod. We're also on TikTok, Maza's Musings Podcast, and we are also on Blue Sky. You could also reach out directly at mazasmusings@gmail.com, or you can go to our website, mazasmusings.wordpress.com. And while you're there, you can find past episodes, you can find out more about me and about this podcast, and you can also sign up for our newsletter. Now, the newsletter is just a once a week in your inbox kind of roundup of what we've been doing, what we're going to be doing. We'll shout out other podcasts. If there's anything interesting like sweepstakes or a contest or news, we do all of that. We are sure to shout out other members of the podcast community. And yeah, it's just a great, fun little thing that we help keep you abreast of what's going on with us. So if you've done all that, and you want to, support us a little more, you can leave a rating or a review on your favorite podcatcher. And doing that helps, boost us up in the algorithms and whatever it is that makes it easier for folks to find us. And one extra step that normally we'll ask you to take, we're not asking you to take right now. No blue milk this month. This month, because it is National Foster Care Awareness Month, we are asking you to donate to All Our Kids, which is an organization for which I am a member of the board of directors. And it's an organization here in Western Massachusetts that supports and empowers foster families. So if you are interested in supporting that cause, you can go to fosteringaok.org. Or if you'd like to make an impact more local to you, you can certainly find out if there are any similar organizations in your area, and I encourage you to support them. This was a ton of fun. I hope that you have as much fun listening to this as I had putting it together. And as always, I hope you have a great weekend and a great week.